Looking for games like Slay the Spire? Look no further, because here you will find a collection of deck-building roguelite card battle games with lots of similarities, and players will feel at home with them. But before starting this showcase, please remember to hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and also consider supporting us through our member program and Patreon page. Lots of perks, mystery box and contests await you. Anyway, let's go!
You could use an extra blade.
No problem.
Let's get going.
Monster Slayers by Nordic Production is a roguelite deck-building adventure in which players will guide a hero across the Northern Valley in order to become the Monster Slayer. 6 classes to choose from and companions to recruit along the way in each randomly generated run. At each run, players will unlock new abilities to use for future playthrough. Monster Slayers is a PC, PlayStation 4, Switch, PlayStation Vita and Xbox One game. Death is a pain, it always stalks you, never letting you be in peace. Well, at least that is the premises of Blood Card. A roguelike adventure Blood Card plays similar to most of the games on this list, but what makes it different is that the player is always stalked by the Death, and yes, we mean the Grim Reaper, Death. In Blood Card, Death will sometimes appear random in battles, with players deciding whether they battle Death or save their hide and try to escape. What also makes Blood Card different to other is that the player's health is determined by the number of cards they have, with more cards meaning more life and vice versa. Available on PC and Android. As the name suggests, Pirates Outlaws by Fable Game is a roguelike deck-building game set in a pirate world. Players will choose their hero from a roster of 14 characters, each one with his own deck and abilities. Players will explore the seas node by node and face events and encounters of various nature. During battles, players must use their deck and combine it with their available ammo for devastating combos. 3 different game modes and a workshop for customizing adventures, heroes and content inside the game. Pirate Outlaws is a PC, Android and iOS game. Two twins fighting to reclaim the world. These are the premises of Dungeoneering by Scopenext Inc., a deck-building roguelike in which players will guide Edge and Camilla through a ruined world invaded by demons. Players must explore hero's skill to unleash devastating combos that could erase every enemy from the battlefield. At the start of a run, players could change the character's job to best fit their playing style. Dungeoneering is a PC game available on Steam. In a galaxy far away, in a vast nothingness, ships battle an intergalactic battle. For the Warp is a deck-building roguelike in space containing massive battles and exploration of procedurally generated galaxies. This is if Star Trek were a roguelike. For the Warp is that space epic deck-building roguelike players have been waiting for, with exploration in Tau, allowing for players to discover friends and enemies alike while on their travels. On Steam. When a sinister curse corrupts the land, darkness reigns supreme and monsters roam freely. From great corruption, heroes will arise and hopefully save the world. How far will players' heroes go before their unlikely demise? Gordian Quest is an epic RPG inspired by old classics like Ultima and Wizardry. Gordian Quest takes a spin on that old school formula and injects some modern aspects like the deck building with strategic turn-based combat. Taking grid-based combat to new grounds, Gordian Quest allows players to choose 3 characters from a pool of 9 characters. Each character has hundreds of skills at their disposal, which can lead to many different combos between characters. Currently still in early access on PC, players can get a glimpse of the 3 acts in the game, each lasting for about 5 hours. Choosing the right path is like taking the red pill and realizing what you've done weeks later. Normally there is no right and wrong path, but it is how we got there. Knock on the Coffin Lid is all about the path players take. Do players help the dwarves destroy another idol, or do they leave them to the side and let them deal with it themselves? It is decisions like this that decide the path of the main character in Knock on the Coffin Lid, and whatever it will be, an easy path or a disastrous path. Knock on the Coffin Lid is a roguelike card game in a similar vein to Slay the Spire. Players will collect dozens of cards and discover more than 50 events that can change the tide of the run. All this and more is currently in the early access version of the game and can be experienced now, offering players endless combinations. Ancient Enemy by Grey Alien Games is a card battle RPG adventure set in a ruined world conquered by evil monsters. Players must explore the lands and fight in puzzled card battles. A vast set of spells and skills, monsters of various kind, and 3 difficulty levels, ranging from relaxed to nightmare. Ancient Enemy is a PC game available on Steam. Imagine if Slay the Spire was on a train that held the last burning fire for a hell that has frozen over. And on that train, players would play the forces of hell, protecting the burning fire from those pesky angels. If this sounds like a great game, then likely Monster Train is exactly that. Monster Train is a strategic roguelike deck building game on a train to hell. As well as having the campaign mode, Monster Train has a host of modes like multiplayer, daily challenge and more to keep players occupied for hours on end. On PC, Switch and Xbox One.
Outlaws, robbers, outcasts. They laid their hands on the ash box, and they broke it, putting the curse on.
Deck of Ashes by AE Games is a deck building adventure game with a strong strategic component given by the camp to upgrade. Players must choose wisely what to upgrade because resources are scarce and one playthrough is not enough to upgrade everything. Different characters to choose from, randomly generated maps, events, ambushes and much more. Read the review to learn more about Deck of Ashes, available on PC.
You'll be handsomely rewarded. Face the most terrifying creatures of the cursed world and defeat the death itself to break the Ash Curse. The final battle begins.
A Long Way Down by Synapsis Studio is a roguelike RPG in which players must build literally their way through the maze by using blocks of various form that helps connect to the exit or to precious loot. Meeting new adventurers could mean both a new ally or even a dangerous enemy. During battles, players must control one or more characters and use their decks to make their way to the mastermind layer. A Long Way Down is a PC and Nintendo Switch game. Against the Moon is a deck building game with a strategic twist. Players will deploy and move their units on a 4x3 square maps and must choose carefully which unit to put on the front and on the back. Inspired graphic style and the possibility of choosing between various characters and monsters to level up. Against the Moon is a PC game available on GOG.
Darkness breeds a curse disdained. It's time to enter the Ring of Pain. A newfound friend is guiding you in dungeons that you're crawling through. A place
Ring of Pain is a roguelike card crawler. The concept is that the card come to the player and they then choose where to go from there depending on the two cards available. Battles are fast with most runs lasting minutes. This is all depends on playstyle, but the game works best if it is played hard and in quick increments. Players who enjoyed Slay the Spire will get a kick out of this, because like Slay the Spire, it can be played for 5 minutes or 5 hours. What makes Ring so different is the paths are in the battle, choosing how, when and why at every corner. Ring of Pain is out on PC, Switch and Xbox One.
I have a gift on one condition. Quench the thirst. It's your audition.
Where most deck building games are hinging on their ability to have your chosen deck before a run, Vault of the Void decides to throw out the window and streamline the whole experience. Vault of the Void is about the idea of having a low RNG and giving the player full control. When we say full control, we mean that the player will control almost every facet of the game. Vault of the Void takes everything players know about deck builders and throw it out of the window, creating new experience that appeals to newcomers and experts alike. What makes it more interesting is there is no randomness and the player can pick and choose how their game will advance after each battle, rendering the whole random structure of this game not, but allows more freedom to play how players want to. On Steam.
At last.
Cardaclysm is from Elder Games and Head Up, and pit players against the greatest foursome in history, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Players will enjoy a procedurally generated deck building world with action RPG elements and creature collection. The battles in Cardaclysm play a lot like Pokemon, where players will catch and use over 200 different creatures cards, all with their own abilities and animations, on PC, Switch, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One. Turn enemies into allies is the main concept of Malice and Greed, forcing them to do players' bidding with a sword to their throats. Malice and Greed is like Pokemon, but with enemies to collect. Malice and Greed is a turn-based roguelike RPG where players can sell unwanted party members and trade them for skills to make others stronger. Players will not only capture a run-of-the-mill minions, but also the bosses they work for. Malice and Greed is still in early access and features 3 full acts for players to get their hands dirty with. On PC. Most of the games we have covered in this list are mostly single-player affairs when it comes to the campaign. Across the Obelisk, this is not the same as this roguelite offers a cooperative campaign allowing up to 4 players to enjoy the campaign with each other. Each player gets to control a character and they can choose from 10 different characters. Across the Obelisk prides itself on being a cooperative adventure but can also be enjoyed solo. As well as other roguelike elements, Across the Obelisk will contain more than 500 upgradable cards and 200 items to choose from, and an ever-evolving adventure that changes every run. On Steam.
Open the book. This is how your story begins. Ash is a wasteland. The Cataclysm ravaged this world, leaving this burning crucible for our ancestors. From that storm of fire and magic...
Trials of Fire by Roguebook Games shares with Slay the Spire only the deck building component. All the rest is a completely different experience. The game is a tactical RPG adventure where players must choose 3 characters and venture into the wastelands, facing events, complete quests and fight tactical combat in X-Grid maps. A very inspired graphic style for a unique RPG card battler. Trials of Fire is a PC game.
Open the book. This is how it begins.
What is the one minion that is the most suitable to being cannon fodder in any turn-based game? If you guessed Slime, then you would be correct. Rise of the Slime is the game that gives players control of the slime and makes them the hero the world deserves. Rise of the Slime is a deck building roguelike that is both colorful and easy for beginners. Move slime freely as players progress through the world, while adding mutations that change the way the game is played. Rise of the Slime is like my first roguelike, being easily accessible for new players to the genre. On PC, Switch, Ps4-5 and Xbox One and Series X and XS.
want to know how to survive out there? The truth is, you won't. You will fall every single time. But
For those who love games like Slay the Spire but with a mature and dark feel, Tainted Grail Conquest by Awakened Realms Digital is the perfect choice. Set in a cursed Avalon, the one from Arthurian legends, in which players must explore randomly generated maps, fight in turn-based battles using cards and save NPCs to unlock permanent benefits for the next run. Devs are also working on Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon, a story-driven RPG version of the game, though Conquest is already available on Steam.
which you're about to conquer.
Griftlands will have players fighting and negotiating through a broken down sci-fi world. Every decision players make will matter, from who they choose to play and how they decide to enter battles. Kill or spare enemies will change how the game plays each run. Griftlands is from the same team that brought players The Wonderful Shank and Mark of the Ninja. Using the same art style from their previous games, Griftlands goes the deck-building roguelike approach with Clay's signature in storytelling and more. Players choose from 3 different characters, each with their own campaign and play style. The characters are all fitted with their own unique decks, offering players endless options when playing. Available on PC, Switch, PS4 and Xbox One. Breach Wanderers by Baroneer Game is a deck-building roguelike game which stays faithful to Slay the Spire mechanics, adding an RPG component. Heroes will level up and gain more power during each run, while the guild will give players permanent boosts. Breach Wanderers is a PC game actually in early access on Steam.
Spoke of a mysterious book containing all of the world's legends. Many thought it was lost to time, but it has been found, and it is full of wickedness.
From the dev behind Fireria Abraham Entertainment and the creator of Magic the Gathering, Richard Garfield, comes Roguebook. Players will guide 2 heroes across X grid maps that need to be revealed with magic inks to discover all the secrets, items and enemies. During battles, players must manage the front and the back position and switch heroes accordingly to enemies' attacks. Roguebook is distributed on PC through Steam.
Start your journey by picking 2 heroes, but be mindful of their strengths and weaknesses. Maximizing their synergies could mean the difference between life. Are you ready to explore the Roguebook?
Blessed be those who dance with death and choose to stand their ground. Blessed be those who give their lives, so others may live on.
Deepest Chamber is what happens if a dungeon crawler and a roguelike card game combine together. Explore the bowels of what was once the most technologically advanced city in the kingdom. Playing a combination of former city, gods and scoundrels, players will explore the depth of the city, going deeper and deeper. Deepest Chamber is a deck-building game with roguelike elements, set in a dark fantasy world. Players will need to descend the depth of the city, encountering fearsome foes and more. As with other on this list, Deepest Chamber includes many customizable options, including how runs are completed. On Steam.
Leave no stone unturned.
Banners of Ruin by Monty B. Arrow is a deck-building RPG with a colorful cast of characters. Traverse dungeons, guiding up to 6 characters at the same time. Every character can unlock a set of cards to use in battle, and during battles players can move units inside 2 lines, the front and the rear. Exploration works not with the classic nodes, but with cards that lead to various locations, enemies or events. Fully released on June 2021 on PC and Switch. Draft of the Darkness by Crawley Games is a dark survival horror deck building game with a strong emphasis on exploration. Little rough in terms of graphic style, but very nice on concept and gameplay mechanics. Players take control of a group of survivors who must explore, scavenge for resources and trade for new cards. Every choice taken will alter the story. Draft of Darkness is a PC game actually in early access on Steam. Being the bad guys, it's fun, at least sometimes it is, and Roguelords by Lake Studio and Cyanide Studio feel that desire in a great way. In a game, players must guide a team of famous evil monsters like Dracula, the Headless Horseman, Bloody Mary and many others. A little different from what happened in games like Slay the Spire, players will not find a deck to manage, but skills to use, as it happens in JRPGs, but with the funniest thing about Roguelords is the possibility of cheating the enemies. Players in fact can sacrifice a portion of health to manipulate the user interface screen, restore friendly units' health, add various status to enemies or allies, swap positions, etc. Roguelords is a PC game.
Hey there, card gamers.
Inscryption is a horror deck-building escape room roguelike that sounds like a mouthful when described like that. From the creator that brought players Pony Island, this horror game is the latest in mind-melting fun that will have players wondering what is going on most of the time. Deck building and horror fans will love this one for sure, as it combines the two genres in a way that is both fun and unique. Inscryption is a PC game available on Steam. the usual zombie apocalyptic world, but played in a way never seen before. Cards of the Dead by Bonfire Games is a unique survival game where players will control one of the 3 selectable heroes in a desperate run to reach a biological complex before turning into a zombie himself and putting hands on a vaccine. The player will explore the world by unfolding cards. Behind each card hides weapons, items, zombies or risky alerts which will attract more zombies. Cards of the Dead is a PC and Nintendo Switch and Xbox game released in 2021.
The Guild of Dungeoneering, all across the land they're cheering. Oh,
Guild of Dungeoneering by Gambrinus is a game one of a kind. Players don't have control over the hero, but instead will control the dungeon using cards, each of them corresponding to rooms, enemies, traps and loot that must be played according to the hero's decisions. Between each run, players must improve their guild in order to obtain new hero classes, cards and items. Guild of Dungeoneering was released in 2015, but in November 2021 the game just received the Ultimate Edition update, which adds to the game life improvements, new quests, more classes and brand new monsters. Guild of Dungeoneering is a PC game available on Steam. Our video ends here. Remember that this video exists in a written version on the blog, a written version that we will try to keep updated with new entries. Now let me know what you think about these games in the comments below. Remember to hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel and also consider supporting us through our member program and Patreon page. Lots of perks, mystery box and contests await you. Wish you the best, ciao!